Hi all, how's it going? Today I am reviewing this lens right here, the Leica 50mm Summilux ASPH or aspherical lens. It's the second newest, I would say, lens that you can get. I don't know if it's discontinued or not now, but probably is by now. The model number is 11891. So how did I end up getting this lens is because I was kind of tired of what I was creating, and I had an idea of having a lens that had flaring characteristics. So I searched up on Google and I came across this Leica lens right here that had flaring characteristics, and I was like, wow, you know, the images looks good with the flares on it. So I went online to check how much it was, and I was amazed at the price, and yep, there's no way I am buying it brand new. Thankfully they had a few second-hand ones, which I obviously purchased the cheapest option. It's quite well used, and according to the staff at the camera shop, it had been used for many portraits. So I guess it was a portrait photographer that used this, and apparently he sold it to the camera shop and, you know, went ahead to buy a Hasselblad or something. So that's how I end up getting this lens right here. Here comes the sad part. After owning it for a week or two, I took it to a wedding job, and by the end of the night I forgot to zip up my bag, and as I was, you know, picking up my bag, the lens fell to the concrete floor, and it had made impact which dented my filter thread along with the lens hood. So a few weeks later I took it back to the shop, get it sent away, and waited for 6 months or just over half a year to get this lens back, and it came out pretty good. Since I've bought the cheapest available lens, there are a few issues which I didn't really like. First of all, it was the lens hood. It was very loose. However, once you extend it out, you can actually lock it, but if you don't lock it, it may just move all over the place. And also I feel like it's quite fragile, because since I've got this lens back, it hasn't even been a year and there's already a dent on it. Now let's talk about the focus ring. I think it may vary between each copy, because personally, having owned this lens for 1 year and sent back to Germany for repair, and buying it second hand, I've experienced a few things with it already. So before sending it back and buying it second hand, the tension was quite loose on the infinity side and a little bit stiffer on the close minimum focus distance side. And funny thing is, after I dropped the lens, the tension was quite loose from infinity to minimum focus distance. And after getting it back from repair, the focus ring was very stiff. After some time it does loosen up, but I feel like this focusing mechanism. Like I just feel like it's a little bit outdated compared to one of the Voigtlander lenses that I have, which had the same tension throughout the whole range, and it feels buttery smooth, but I don't feel like this is quite as smooth as the Voigtlander lenses that I have. The image quality on this lens is superb. At f1.4 it's sharp enough. It doesn't compare like to the modern lenses, but definitely it's very good and good enough for my needs. The contrast is great. I would say the image quality from this is split between modern and a bit vintagey. At f1.4 there is a slight glow, like very minimum, which I kind of like. Also, the bokeh is not buttery smooth, but it's also not super like rough, if you know what I mean. And also, what I like is obviously the flaring characteristics. I'm going to show some images, which some of them were shot from film and some of them were adapted to my Sony camera. So here goes. Would I recommend this lens? Maybe not, because I feel like the optics is great, but the design itself isn't so great. And I feel like with that price, I'd rather go for the Leica 50mm Summilux black chrome, which fixes the issue that I have with this lens. Or perhaps even the brass version, which I haven't used by the way or even tested it out, but you know, I think the brass version will have like a sturdier feel with the lens hood. But yeah, I mean, if you don't want to spend too much and you can perhaps look after the lens, then yeah, this lens could be a good choice. However though, like Voigtlander lenses are actually quite amazing. So if you don't care about flaring characteristics, go for the Voigtlander. You know, you don't need to pay for that Leica price. But if you want to stay within the Leica ecosystem, then and you can look after this lens, then yeah, it's a great lens. That's about it from me. I mean, the review isn't really like a hard out, you know, talking about, you know, lens sizes and stuff, but more of my user experience of this lens. So this channel is quite new and I'm trying to grow this, so would appreciate if you guys subscribe. Alright, thank you. Bye.